everyone, welcome back to the Red Sofa here at Finnish Vehicle Logistics North America. I'm so pleased to be joined by Amy Paulsen, Director of Vehicle Logistics for General Motors. And Amy, you have a background working at a number of electric vehicle manufacturers where you really helped to set up a lot of the logistics processes. Now coming into a very large OEM, traditional OEM like GM, what are some of the lessons, or are there lessons, that you could bring from the startup experience into General Motors?
Ooh, loaded question. I think from my background in the EV startup space, we had the luxury of setting things up from scratch, purpose defining our process and our IT systems, and that those already exist at GM when I came into the role. So first part of the challenge has been learning, sort of what came before me. And the second is what's the appetite for change? And surprisingly, at GM, it's very high. I've been very pleasantly surprised by the appetite for change and the agility that I see within something that's 10x the size of some of the companies that I've come from. And then defining, once you understand the appetite for change, how do you go about that? Because it's a much larger organization, and you have more cross-functional partners that you have to align with to make change. But really, it's a bit of an involved process, but has been surprisingly nimble, and a lot of appetite for doing things better.
Well, and also, interestingly, GM's EV growth has been tremendous. I think something like 60% plus in the first quarter. So actually, there must be some very direct experience you're bringing now in this role at this time.
Definitely. The EV product portfolio is fantastic, and it spans everything from entry-level EV to the beautiful, Cadillac IQ and soon the IQL, which is going to present some logistical challenges for us. But certainly some of my experience in the EV startups is germane to this role, specifically in terms of, how do we how do we deal with battery health, with state of charge, with using telematics to maintain battery health, and how do we partner with third party and with our logistics providers to maintain battery health through the chain to the dealer to the customer, and then when things go wrong, first how do we identify it, use that data to fix the problems going forward, and then remedy and get those batteries charged and get them back up and running, doing all of that safely, and with the acknowledgement that there's still some nervousness around in the high voltage battery space. So yeah, certainly the experience has been helpful.
Absolutely. Our theme here at the event is get ready to reimagine vehicle logistics. And we didn't actually have tariffs and trade wars when we came up with that. It was actually inspired in many ways by a challenge that General Motors gave us when Jeff Morrison spoke at one of our events, and he said, the industry should really be thinking how to do things differently, opportunities that come with equipment, new technology, et cetera. So I guess from your point of view now in the role, where are we living up to this expectation, and where we perhaps have some way to go?
I think, I've actually taken a lot of comfort from GM's ability to pivot and be agile for such a large company with over 100 years of history and knowledge, and to deploy that very quickly and everybody pull in the same direction. So we've responded to quality hold at the beginning of, I think it was 24. We had a pretty big quality hold scenario in Mexico. We drew that down. We've had, port labor issues that we've responded to. We've had 2 hurricanes that disrupted dealer operations in a certain part of the country that we've responded to. But there's some improvement to be made internally in terms of our data and systems, and that's what my team is focused on now, is maturing those systems, and bringing in new data feeds, growing the platform, because a lot of what we've accomplished is sort of by sheer force of will, and a lot of human effort. And to keep the team, I think, balanced, we need to automate a lot of our function, and we need to leverage technology and some AI and machine learning also to help us to support the people endeavor behind that. But there's a lot of very innovative thinking from our supply base that's tremendously helpful to us, and there are some that are still doing business the way that they always have, despite the sort of the macro trends happening that affect the business. And so we are spending a lot of time talking to those vendors, trying to educate on our position, how we're being affected, what it means for the business, and sort of bring them along into a more flexible thinking.
So yeah, obviously more digitalization and automated processes in the area of vehicle logistics network design. Are there other ways that you're looking at network design and engineering to create a more agile and flexible network?
That's something that we look at intently and we meet on weekly. We have, GM has a massive finished vehicle logistics network with all modes and many partners, which can be challenging to manage, but also presents a lot of opportunity when you're hit with these macro trends that sort of throw the industry into a tizzy. And how do you respond? And so we have a lot of options. And my network engineering team looks at these things week over week. And all the things that pop up during the course of the week, and with strong internal knowledge of the network, human knowledge, and also supported by some machine learning and AI tools that the team has developed, and we figure out new ways to leverage the network. Whether that's a different loading point, a different carrier, a different routing. And we've really been able to be very nimble in some of our most recent, I think, exigencies because of that.
Yeah. Fantastic. We talked earlier about the growth in EV, and again, some of your colleagues and your team have been here talking about how to handle batteries, charging infrastructure, et cetera. Again, what do you think are, as an industry now, some key priorities in terms of infrastructure and solutions for charging that will really support and help the growth in the years ahead?
I haven't seen the EV infrastructure across the logistics chain change much and say the last 8-10 years. And so I think it's become then, out of necessity, incumbent on the OEMs to drive the charge forward and how we're going to maintain and remedy battery problems that arise. And I think you're seeing that with GM, where we've developed some very strong partnerships with third-party repair companies and third-party portable charging companies, where we have a great relationship with them, a solid contract, and we can deploy them with very short notice as soon as we specify what we need from them. And we've had to do that because there just wasn't a lot of movement from the other side. So.
Yeah, so in effect, take the matters into own hands and be able to manage it. Last question. Now, clearly we are in a geopolitically uncertain time with the tariffs. We don't know for how long or exactly what the situation will be. In terms of how you manage that with your teams and with your partners, are there tools, are there processes, are there new innovations that you're exploring in order to make the best possible decisions and handle this the best possible way?
We're taking sort of a two-pronged approach to the new normal of uncertainty in the finished vehicle logistics space, internal and then external. The external is partner focused, where we're leading with just transparency, because what the uncertainty that impacts us is also impacting them. It makes our providers nervous, understandably. And so what we promise is that we don't know everything, but when we do know, or when we have made a plan, we will tell you and we will work through these problems together. And then if we focus internally, we're also trying to educate different parts of GM about what it means if we stop, or what our logistics constraints are, because it doesn't just get turned back on. And it takes a period of time to draw down. And then, everybody's kind of wondering, like, where, dealers are like, where are our vehicles? So from, across different organizations, from manufacturing to planning to even trade and customs, we're having these conversations about what it means. And then even upwards, so that I think everybody up to our C-suite now understands, like, we can do this if we need to, but there are repercussions and we have to plan for those.
It's such an important point, something we've talked about with a few other speakers here as well. Turning that off means however many weeks to recover. And of course, we've been there in the past where we've ended up short and obviously fell behind. So I think that internal and external open lines of communication to make better decisions and find innovations is a great message. Amy, thanks so much for talking with us here at Finished Vehicle Logistics and on the Red Sofa, and to all of your team. It's been fantastic, and we look forward to continuing to keep up with you and your team in the months and years ahead.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks again for staying with us. You'll find more highlights from sessions with Amy, the GM team, and more at Finished Vehicle Logistics on our website and here on LinkedIn.